So what is the best way to train in the gym for jiu-jitsu? So, hey, I'm Jamie. I own Bear Strength Grappling and I've been a strength and conditioning coach now for 14 years. Previously a CrossFit athlete of 12 years, I have recently transitioned to jiu-jitsu and I've been training and competing in jiu-jitsu now for 2.5 years. I'm a father of 4 technically, 2 kids, 2 furry kids, and yeah, I'm just here to enjoy life, give you a simple breakdown of how I perceive strength conditioning for jiu-jitsu. I'm not going to go into technical terms. I'm going to make this easy for you to digest so I can help you on your journey to getting stronger to crush the mats. So, strength conditioning for jiu-jitsu I feel is very outdated and heavily driven into the bodybuilding scene, especially like with the likes of like Gordon Ryan and Nicky on the scene, heavily promoting like bodybuilding style training within their Instagram feeds. However, we've got to look at it, right? 99.9% of us are not Gordon Ryan or Nicky Rod. We have full-time jobs, we have a family, and we are trying to find a balance between this and fitting around our BJJ and strength training. So I'm going to give you a rundown on how I look at strength conditioning as a strength conditioning coach and a jiu-jitsu athlete, like sort of jiu-jitsu athlete and hobbyist. First, let's talk warm-ups. So we typically have three camps of people that are doing warm-ups. So we have the first sort of camp of people that are doing warm-ups. We have just your basic static stretching, not really doing anything, just being present, just stretching, just to stretch, but not really getting much out of the stretching. So the second camp of people we have, the warm-ups are for pussies camp. We don't spend much time getting into deep positions, stretching, activating tissues. Let's just load the bar up and just lift. Warm-ups are a waste of time. And the third camp of people are the kind of people that get a skinny band, like a pair of pants, slap it around our knees, and just walk around like a silly bugger, just trying to activate their butt cheeks. So how should we be warming up? So I view warm-ups in the way as we want to get our connective tissue moving through the full ranges of motion. We want to promote blood flow to the joints. We want to explore different planes of motion. And as I said before, we want to get deep into deeper ranges of motion, get our muscles activated, everything firing properly before we lift low. So when I'm looking at warm-ups, I like to break the body down into sections. So I like to start with hips first, and I like to implement some controlled articular rotations. So one of the movements that I really like doing is a box car. So we're going to start with our foot on the outside. We're going to come up to the highest point that we can. We're then going to rotate in. We're going to come higher. We're going to come around the box, drop our knee down, reach back, reset. Backwards through the movement, we're coming back up, through, back to that center point, and back down to the outside. A warm up like this for the hips is going to help explore the end ranges of your mobility. We're going to promote blood flow to the connective tissues and the joints, and we're going to start taking our body through those like different planes of motion. We've got internal rotation, external rotation of the hip, abduction, adduction, all going on at the same time in one warm-up. You can make this harder by adding things like ankle weights. We can hold stuff, we can hold a ball or something while we're doing this, a weighted ball. We can pull on a band. We can literally mix this up in so many different ways that this is going to be one of the keys to building that random strength on the mats. The next area I like to look at is the spine. So we can warm up the spine in many ways. I'm going to do like a rotational element, but you can laterally flex the spine. You can do it sort of like a basic flexion and extension, lateral from side to side. You can rotate the spine. You can twist the spine through the upper body. There's so many different ways that you can warm up the spine to prepare your spine for the demands of the sport. And when we break down the spine and we start warming up the spine like this, we're going to work our connective tissues and ligaments on the spine and give ourselves a really nice strong back for when we're on the mats, we're getting put into these bad positions. We can at least be more comfortable in these uncomfortable positions and explode out of them when necessary. So one of my favourite ways to warm up the spine is this controlled articular rotation of the spine. So you're going to hug a ball, you're going to squeeze your bum, and we're going to flex all the way down. We're going to look to come to the side. We're extending all the way back as far as we can, and then we come back round the other side doing the same thing. The goal of this is to build the biggest circle you can with your hands. So that's a nice spine warm up. We've done our hips, spine. We're going to look at the shoulders. The shoulders take a bit of a battering in jiu-jitsu, and it doesn't grace us with the best posture. Like most of the day, we'd probably sit at a desk at work, so we've got hunched shoulders anyway. Then we come into jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of like grappling, obviously, with our shoulders rolled forward. We're never really in a position where we've got like a nice straight back, promoting like good posture. So typically, jiu-jitsu athletes, external rotation is weak. So we need to start working that, bring our shoulders back into a better position, which will give us a fighting chance against a lot of the arm locks that we get put in. So we're going to go on all fours here. We're going to plant our elbow on the floor. We have a band in between our legs. We're going to pull our shoulder blade back and down, and we're going to explore that full range of motion, moving nice and controlled through the range. You can do this in many different ways. You can do this on a bench, you can do this with dumbbells. Like, you can literally train your external rotation with many different methods. A way that I like to do it is obviously with the band, and then when you get a little bit more advanced and you want to, strengthen it in to deal with like impact, we can start looking at things like we're going to bring the band up and we're going to work on dropping it down. Bring the band up, drop it down, just to prepare our connective tissues for when we get like Kimuras, Americanas, all those kinds of threats. Our joints are conditioned to deal with it and allow us to get out of it pain-free. So next up the chain, we look at the neck, and one of the things that I like to do to warm up my neck, and I feel like it's really good for us as jiu-jitsu athletes to do, is neck cars. So I like to have my arms out by my sides just at a 45 degree angle, creating a bit of tension in my body. We're going to start in this nice upright position. We're going to drive our chin down as far as we can to our chest, so that makes your voice go funny. We're going to search for the full range. We're going to be coming out to the side, and we're going to be rolling our head back as far as we can, coming back down to the other side, and then reaching down to the middle. We're going to alternate from side to side, trying to work out of pain-free motion. So if there's a slight pinch, we're going to come off the range of motion a little bit and just work on our pain-free range until that pain becomes less, and then we explore different ranges of motion. Again, there's lots of different ways that we can strengthen our neck, but that is one of the best ways that I like to warm up my neck. So I've probably bored you to death with tip raises and calf raises and all that sorts of stuff, so I wanted to give you another way that I like to move down the chain and look at warming up my ankles. So what we're going to do here is this one is going to be working towards our tib anterior, so the muscle on the front of our shin. So I'm going to get you to basically just stand with your toes up, and we're just going to walk with straight legs. I'm going to just walk up and down the gym or up and down the area that we're in for around 30 seconds to a minute. You should notice that really lights up your shins. Next thing we're going to look at is we're going to do exactly the same thing but for our calves. So we're going to come right up into our toes, keeping our legs nice and straight, and we're just going to walk into our toes, up and down the gym or area that we're working out. Again, we're going to spend about 30 seconds or so doing this. The next thing I like to do is strengthen supination of the foot. So this is an area that we get hit with a lot, with toe holds, straight foot locks to some element and other things. So what I like to do is I like to gradually just like put some weight into my foot here, just turn it out to the side and then moving it back in. So we're just coming out to the side here, moving it back in. So real simple, a nice drill to work on just stretching and strengthening those ligaments on the outside of the ankle. Yes, a lot of this stuff you can make harder by using bands, adding weight and all that sorts of stuff, but they're a really simple 3 ankle exercises that you can add into your warm-up.